You might ask yourself, why do you need compressors to have a cooling system? This is a compressor. This is a compressor. It has two tubes, as you see, an inlet and an outlet. The outlet goes to where? To the cooler, to the radiator. And the inlet goes to where? To the cabinet or the cabin of the truck. So why do you need a compressor to cool the truck? The compressor compresses air. How do you explain using compressor to cool a truck? Simply, it's what is called Boyle's law. Boyle's law looks like this. The pressure times the volume equals a constant multiplied by the temperature. This is the absolute temperature. So when you increase the pressure with the compressor and you have a constant volume, that is constant, you increase the temperature because this is another constant. So why would you increase the temperature when you wanted to cool the truck? Here is the trick. You have a compressor that compresses, which means increases the pressure under constant volume. You increase the temperature of the gas. The gas is the freon or whatever coolant, whatever refrigerating material you use. When you compress it, you wanted to create low temperature, not high temperature. When you compress it, you use the radiator to remove the heat. So you have a compressed coolant or gas, and you take the heat away from with the radiator. When the gas goes inside, you play a different game. Now you reduce the temperature by the radiator, and you change the volume inside by making the gas expands, which means the volume goes up. When the gas expands at the constant pressure, you decrease the temperature. That is how simple it is. That is called Boyle's law. Boyle's law. So Boyle's law explains to you the relationship between the pressure, the volume, and the temperature. The Boyle's law has a different format that use it in the braking system. The format is, right, go back to the other side of the truck. You have a different story. You have a compressor, a different compressor. This is the compressor, right here, and this is the governor. Those deal with compressing air. On the other side, the compressor of the cooling system compresses freon. Here you are compressing air. Why are you compressing air? Because you use that for the braking system. All these lines have compressed air at 125 psi. That is the pressure here is 125 psi. Psi means pound per square inch. Why do you increase the pressure by compressor and governor? Because you use the same law in a different format. The format is called the Pascal's law. It's called the force equals the pressure times the surface area. The surface area is the cross section of one of these hoses. That is the surface area. When you increase the pressure to 100 psi, you increase the force. You get this force transmitted in each one of these hoses all the way to the back of the truck. Right here, this is another the brake hose. There is another hose that controls the airbag. There are all these hoses will go back to the truck in the back, right here. And you apply them to these lines, the red and the blue. to apply the force F to the wheels of the truck. And you have air tanks under here. All these air tanks simply implement the two laws. Remember, Boyle's law is the same as Pascal's law, a different format. This is called the Pascal's law. Pascal's law is the same like Boyle's law in a different format. You use here the pressure as a force multiplied by the cross section is the same pressure you bring it from Boyle. Why are you not using this format? Because you are making the volume constant and the temperature constant. You only need the force of Pascal's law. So everything in the truck is using Boyle's law, which is Pascal's law. Ask yourself, why do you have a huge engine made from steel? Because you need that volume of Boyle's law to be constant. When the volume is constant, you can generate pressure. When the pressure changes, you generate force. So what do you do with the temperature? Because if you generate pressure, you generate temperature. You use the radiator. The radiator is right in the front. And you use a fan. If you look at here, you see the radiator inside. The radiator takes the temperature, drops it too low to prevent melting the engine. So everything here is dealing with the pressure of the gas, the volume of the engine or the volume of the tubes, and the temperature of the medium. So you ask yourself, here is an aeroplane that's coming down to the airport. How does that aeroplane carry 200 people and weighs almost 100 tons? That aeroplane weighs no less than 100 tons. How does it stay in the air? By Boyle's law, by Pascal's law, which have a different funny name called the Bernoulli's law. Here is an aeroplane coming down. How does the aeroplane carry people? It generates pressure, air pressure by the jet engines. The pressure generates force. The force lifts the aeroplane against the gravity. And you're using the radar, the fins, whatever you call them, the elevators, all the attachment of the aeroplane to make it fly very smooth, horizontal level, and adjust the level until it lands in the airport. Using the same two laws, or there are only one law. This is Boyle's law, which you can put it in the form of Pascal's law, which you can put it in the form of Bernoulli's law. Bernoulli's law looks like this. This is Bernoulli, which is Pascal, which is Boyle. This is Bernoulli's law. How does it look like? It says the pressure of the gas or the air divided by the density of the air plus the square of the velocity or half equal constant. Forget about the constant. Anyway, Bernoulli's law tells you the pressure of the material divided by the density of the air equals the kinetic energy. This is the kinetic energy of the air. This is no different at all from Boyle's law and Bernoulli's law. How comes? Here is the three laws, all of them are the same thing. This is pressure and velocity, which we call it Bernoulli. This is pressure temperature, we call it Boyle. This is pressure and surface area pressure, we call it Pascal. So how did you get from the kinetic energy to the force to the pressure? It is simple. Because if you remember, you can put that as M, which is the mass of the air. If the air has zero density, it will have no pressure. Whenever the density increases, the pressure increases. How do you get the kinetic energy to become force. It is simple. You studied that in high school. You multiply the force by the distance equal the kinetic energy half mv square. This is the distance. This is the force. This is called the work done or energy. Another way, the kinetic energy is related to the force by the distance of travel. From these three laws, which is simply a single law called the Boyle's, Pascal, and Bernoulli, you drive trucks, you fly aeroplanes, and you drive trains by simply changing the gas force in the gas. When you change the force, the air is gas. When you change the force in the air, you lift an aeroplane. When you change the force in the airlines of this train, you can make it stop. Carrying over 400 cars, rail cars. Each one of them weighs 125 tons. If you look at it carefully, right here it says 125 tons. Each one of this, when it is loaded, when you add the entire train loaded over 400 tons, you can stop it by using Boyle's law, applying the pressure to the brakes in the air, in the hoses, in these hoses right there between the rail cars. That is how you use Bernoulli's. Bernoulli we applied to the kinetic energy of aeroplanes. Remember, we can just move force, kinetic energy, and the pressure have almost the same meaning, different format. Here is the hose. This huge hose transmits air from one car to another, and it originates all the way from the front, from the train. When it comes here, that airline, it affects the brakes. The brakes are in the right there. If you go carefully, you put at them, they are very tight because the train is stopped. How are they tight? Because you use springs, power springs, to stop the train. To move this train, you have to apply air pressure to be able to release the brakes. If you look here, I can show you the tanks under the train that have. If you look at the brakes from here, they are pushed tight against the wheel to stop the train. That is the entire story of every car, every train, every aeroplane, every machine that walks on the earth have to be driven by changing the pressure of the gas, which generates force. How do you have combustion engine? You bring oil, petroleum. You have petroleum going through this tube, diesel. You inject it inside, you compress it, it catches fire, it explodes. When it explodes, it's a gas form. The gas creates pressure, the pressure creates force, the force creates kinetic energy. You move the